If 1% daily APR wasn't enough with Stablefund, well, don't worry because you can get 2% daily APR from Relyfund, and it even goes up to 2.2% depending on whether or not you were invested before a certain TVL amount. And it also does apply to people who were invested in Stablefund. You can get an additional 0.2% on this. And now let's get into exactly why and what I see in terms of red flags for this one. We kind of all know what happened to Stablefund, and this is another bot service. It's another trading bot as a service, and this one here is giving 2% daily APR and people are going crazy over it. So let's go over my thoughts on this one. The first thing we see is it's available on ETH, it's available on Binance Smart Chain, and it's available on Avalanche. And as you can see on the BSC network, they have over $1.58 million deposited, which is insane. It's only been out for about a week and a half or so and already $1.5 million raised, and they have basically put about 1.1 million of that money raised into their trading bots, which is supposedly going to make enough money for everybody who's invested in this project to make 2% per day, or maybe up to 2.2% per day if you have those conditions met. So that's essentially the whole premise of this project. And obviously there's referrals. You can take a look at that. If you want to participate in there, you can get 5% of your referred users deposits. That's something you can do, and obviously a lot of people are going to make a lot of money with that. Now, the first thing we need to understand is how in the world is this going to provide you with 2% daily APR every single day, regardless of the amount that is currently in this contract. They may cap it at a certain amount. I have no idea, but let's take a look at their reasoning behind how the 2% is going to be achieved. So as we take a look at their Discord, the first good thing about this is that they actually do show some trade logs, and on Christmas Day itself, they actually posted some of their trade logs, and we do see that they had 8 wins and 1 loss on the futures and 4 wins and 1 loss on the spot trading, for a total profit of about $11,000 on that given day. And then you have the details here, and it's nice to see this because obviously with Stablefund, who knows if there were even any bots, and we're not going to talk too much about Stablefund, but it was a complete shit show and nobody knew what was going on. It was just printing money. So at least with this project here, we can see some results, and they are sharing that with us. Now, it's been a few days. Obviously, it's the holidays and everything, and we haven't had any other trade logs posted, but that's a good sign, in my opinion, that they did show some trade logs and they are generating some money with the strategy that they are currently using. Now, is this sustainable enough for 2%? Let's take a look at what the founders had to say about that. If we go on to their Telegram group, this particular group is no longer active because apparently there was some sort of bug. So they had to create a new group. But what I want to show you in this Telegram is their whole reasoning behind how the 2% is sustainable and is okay, and they are able to generate this. So if we take a look at what they say here, they say our very own Sam, a core team member of Relyfund, showcasing one of our BTC trading bots over the last 2 years. Starting principal of 1 million and ending with 20.7 million, which is 6.1 million more than what's needed to provide the 2% per day. So if we take this word for word and we go on to this video, unfortunately, it doesn't load anymore. I'm not too sure if it's because they actually removed the Telegram group, but this was basically a video of Sam, one of their core members, actually giving us a look at their strategy and the results that it had over the last 2 years. But these were back-tested results, and it was not actually them using this in real time. We know that backtested data is good, but it doesn't necessarily predict the future. And that's essentially how they based themselves off of that 2% per day, which was sustainable. So I'm not too sure if they're going to post this video elsewhere, but essentially that's what Sam was showing in this video. Now, if we continue scrolling down here, he actually says this again. Someone points out that these were all backtested data, and then Brandon, which is the CEO or the founder of this project, he says all trades 100% real. I think that was just the recording software he used. And then someone else says, I would recommend showing historical trade data instead of backtesting demo. And Brandon says, this is historical trade data, my man. We can release trade logs as well. These were all real trades. Now, they were real trades in the backtesting data analysis they made, but they were not actual real trades with real money over the last 2 years. They literally just took their strategy and I'm not sure if they tweaked it whatsoever, but they are basically saying that with the current strategy they had, they were able to make about $20 million in the last 2 years, as per what Brandon says here. Now, the question I have for you guys is, one, do you really think that this is possible? I mean, if anybody could take $1 million worth of their own money and then use this strategy for 2 years, and you would have a guaranteed $20.7 million after those 2 years, I mean, you would not have to work. I mean, nobody in the world would have to work, and people could just sit back and literally print money. So what are we doing here? Like, come on. Are we actually saying that if you start with 1 million, you can make 20.7 million with this system, with their strategy? And they backtested this data. They never actually used it in real time. Backtesting is good, but it's not accurate with the actual events of market manipulations, of historical events that can happen in the macroeconomic sense of things. So it's all very up in the air, in my opinion, and it's all based on back-tested data. Those are some of the flags I'm looking at. And if you take a look at their actual website here, again, it says how long has this technology been tested, and they say that they've managed to create a sophisticated cutting-edge program that we've backtested and tweaked over a span of 2 years, having impressive trading history, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop for those 2+ years. Our bots have easily put even higher yields than 2% daily consistently. He also goes on and says that their lowest day ever over these last 2 years was 1.72%. Now, if you can tell me that I'm not going to make less than 1.72% for 2 years straight, I'm going to go from $1 million to $20.7 million. I mean, you just have it made, right? So that's one of the things I'm continuously thinking about as I'm seeing more and more content around this. It's just way too good to be true, in my opinion. Now, if we continue on with what else I don't personally like, and again, these are all just my opinions. I'm trying to share with you guys what I am thinking as I'm looking at these different trading bots as a service projects. We all know what happens typically with these projects. I mean, we just saw Stablefund, probably the biggest trading bot, quote unquote, service out there, just gone. It's done, and people have probably lost so much money. But getting back into Relyfund, another thing I'm not a fan of is if we take a look at the Binance Smart Chain, they are essentially saying that they're going to take 80% of the total deposits, or the TVL, and they're going to allocate that to their bots on BitGet, which is a centralized exchange where all of the activity is happening and where they are, quote unquote, making that money to pay out 2% daily. So as we can see, if we take a look at this contract address, it brings up to this page here. They have about 295,000 in here, and this is essentially what's being used to pay that 2% on a daily basis. Now, as we go back to that, of course, we know that there's about 1.5 million deposited, but what happened is that they took out some of that money, 80% of that money, they've put it into BitGet, and they are running their bots on BitGet with the rest of that money. So, of course, you can kind of understand that if something were to happen, they have the ability to take money out of that contract and put it elsewhere. Now, of course, you just have to essentially trust the team. They are not currently doxxed, although they may plan on doxing in the future. They may plan on KYCing with a better company than what they previously did. But all that to say is that there is an option in there for them to move the balance around from the contract that we see here to wherever they may want to move it. So that's another thing I am not personally a fan of. But again, if it works out for you and you have risk capital that you want to deposit in something like this, you be my guest. I'm probably not going to touch this. I'm looking at it on a daily basis, seeing what's going to happen with it, seeing the updates as they come out. And they also plan on having these bots as an NFT. So people are going to be able to buy an NFT and you're going to be essentially able to tweak that bot. But then it becomes the difference between a sunk cost for buying that NFT or having them manage your money if you just deposit into the contract. Again, we're just going to have to wait for more information on that one. So those are essentially my thoughts on Relyfund. I am not convinced one bit. I'm going to have to see how this plays out in the given weeks, and I'm going to have to wait and see if we can get even more data on what is happening with BitGet, exactly how much money they are making on a weekly basis. Yes, we've had one share of a screenshot here, but we haven't had anything since. So again, it's in the holidays. I get all of that. So I'm just going to be patient and wait for that. But I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts and what I personally think. And if we just take a look at where the money is going from this contract, if we take a look at the contract ending in B8D, which is the smart contract they advertise on their website. We can take a look at that. It actually goes into another wallet, which ends in EA9. Then it goes into another wallet that ends in 1AE, and then it's split into two wallets, and then it's merged back into this one here. And I do believe this wallet actually is some sort of bridge between USDC and USDT, because as we know, they are trading futures and they are using USDT and not USDC. And to deposit in this, you need to deposit with USDC. So they need a way to convert their USDC to USDT and then send it over to BitGet. So with all of that information out there, that is my initial overview of Relyfund. It's not financial advice. You guys get to do whatever you want with your own money, and these are just the things I look at when I'm looking at a new project, and when I'm seeing 2% per day, something definitely goes off in my mind. So with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.